On this week's Goal Show, the very best from Brazil as the Campeonato Brasileiro takes shape. Highlights from the United States and the race for honours in Major League Soccer. Samuel Eto'o bids to lead Anzhi Makhachkala into the UEFA Europa League. And action from the opening weekend of the new Jupiler League season in Belgium. South America is our first port of call.
Back in 2010, Fluminense won the Brazilian National Championship for the first time in more than 2 decades. After finishing third last season, the Rio-based club are targeting honours again, and up until Wednesday had the only unbeaten record in the league this year. Round 12 of the campaign took them to play Gremio, who were looking for their 4th straight win under former Brazil national coach Vanderlei Luxemburgo. Fluminense, who began the game 4 points behind league leaders Atletico Mineiro, only had Fred's header to show for their early efforts. He was looking to find the net for the 7th time in 6 games. Following a slow start, Gremio woke from their slumber, and Bolivian Marcelo Moreno wasted their best first-half opening. That had followed good work by Alano, and the one-time Manchester City player took the free kick, which led to the decisive moment. Adilson's cross was eventually converted by Clever with 69 minutes played. His 8th goal of the season. Clever's joy at scoring was tempered near the end when he was shown a 2nd yellow card for throwing the ball away. But Gremio held on to inflict Fluminense's first defeat anywhere since their Copa Libertadores exit to Boca Juniors back in May.
On Thursday, Atletico Mineiro hosted Santos in Belo Horizonte, having seen their place at the top taken by Vasco da Gama 24 hours earlier. Atletico have been crowned national champions just once back in 1971. But here they were hoping to return to the summit with a 7th successive win. One-time Manchester City striker Joe partnered Ronaldinho in Atletico's attack, and he thought he'd scored early on, only to be thwarted by a linesman's flag. Television replays suggested it was a poor decision. Santos were missing key players Neymar and Ganso, away on Olympic duty with the Brazil national team. Their absence told as Atletico dominated the first half, eventually finding a way through as Marcus Rocha's cross was steered home by Danilinho. The home side stepped up the tempo after the break, loan signing Ronaldinho clearly a favourite with the crowd. Danilinho fired wide. And Bernard was within a whisker of making it 2-0. Bernard was involved again moments later, another disallowed goal. It looked to be another dubious decision too. Atletico's sense of injustice spurred them on, and the pace setters sealed their victory through their captain, Reva.
On to Saturday, and another of the league's title chasers, Vasco da Gama, went to Internacional. Vasco had gone top by virtue of a 1-0 win against Botafogo in midweek. But having seen that place taken again by Atletico, the Rio club travelled to an Internacional side, handing a debut to new signing Diego Forlan. The Uruguayan has signed a 3-year deal with the club, following the termination of his contract with Inter in Italy. Forlan almost saw his side fall behind early on, Carlos Alberto's cross evading everyone, including teammate Eder Luis. The Internacional response was immediate, this time Fred testing the palms of Fernando Pras at the other end. But the best chance of the first half fell to Forlan. He spurned this opportunity to open his account for his new side. A 3-month lack of action at club level may be to blame. The chances continued to fall for the home side, but the outcome remained the same. Fabrizio, the guilty party this time. That prompted a change from Internacional head coach Fernandao. No dream debut for Forlan. He was replaced by 18-year-old Morides after 69 minutes. It almost had the opposite effect, though, Vasco coming to life, but Carlos Alberto couldn't provide the finish. Morides had a chance to win it late on, but his header fell agonisingly wide, as both sides had to settle for a point. So a point for Vasco, not enough to see them overtake Atletico Mineiro, who drew at Fluminense on Sunday. Gremio failed to build on their victory over Fluminense in midweek, losing 2-1 at Coritiba. Internacional are 6th, and will be hopeful Forlan can make a big impact in the coming months.
The race for a playoff berth in Major League Soccer is gathering pace, with several teams hoping to reach the postseason for the first time. Among them, the Vancouver Whitecaps. On Friday, they travelled to play 2009 MLS champions Real Salt Lake. The home side went into the match 5 points ahead of their opponents in the Western Conference. And when Jay Demerit tangled with Kyle Beckerman, Real Salt Lake had the chance to strike first. Costa Rican forward Alvaro Saborio took responsibility and made the spot kick count. The Whitecaps, who'd beaten MLS leaders San Jose Earthquakes just days earlier, reacted well, much livelier after half-time. Brazilian Camilo Sanvezzo supplying the pass for Jamaican striker Darren Mattocks to level the scores at 1-1. Mattocks was the second pick in the MLS Super Draft ahead of the season, at his 7th goal in 13 games. His form's one reason Vancouver have improved significantly in their second MLS campaign, led by Scottish head coach Martin Rennie. But Saborio's header quickly re-established Real Salt Lake's lead, and Vancouver couldn't recover. Their chances killed off late on when goalkeeper Joe Cannon handled outside the area. The Whitecaps keeper dismissed, and Salt Lake home and dry.
Elsewhere in the West, the Portland Timbers were looking to end a run of 4 straight defeats at home to Chivas USA. Interim head coach Gavin Wilkinson had not been able to lift his team following the sacking of former Chelsea striker John Spencer. Here they created numerous first-half chances, with Scotland international Chris Boyd guilty of wasting the best of them. Brent Richards also fired wide during a fruitless first half for the Timbers. Having soaked up the pressure, Chivas stunned the home crowd midway through the second half. Danny Califf grabbing his first ever goal for the visitors, whose inconsistent form has left their playoff hopes in jeopardy. Spearheading Portland's attack, Boyd came agonisingly close to equalising when his long-range effort was kept out by Dan Kennedy. Portland ended the game having had 20 efforts on goal, all to no avail, a 5th straight defeat for the Oregon club. It means Portland remain rooted to the bottom of the Western Conference, with Chivas still in 6th. Real Salt Lake's win edged them closer to an automatic playoff berth, while a 1-0 win at Dallas saw LA Galaxy continue their recent revival. In the East, the New York Red Bulls remain top despite a 3-1 loss at Montreal Impact. Houston Dynamo are up to 2nd after winning 2-0 at basement club Toronto.
In China, Guangzhou Evergrande are closing in on a second successive Super League title. On Saturday, they face Shanghai Shenhua and the challenge of keeping Didier Drogba quiet in his first start for the club. The former Chelsea striker nearly made his mark early on.
Great header.
But the breakthrough arrived instead for Marcelo Lippi's Evergrande side. Dario Conca giving them the lead. Shenhua was still dangerous, of course, with Drogba and Nicolas Anelka leading the attack, and in the second half they fought back. Song Bok-swan on target. That's the way it stayed until 11 minutes from the end, when Muraqui's goal put Evergrande back in front. But there was still time for a final twist. Shanghai rescuing a point just 2 minutes later.
So they go, find the back of the net, really.
Colombian Giovanni Moreno making the final score 2-2.
Yes, it is final whistle here at the 10H Stadium with Guangzhou and Shanghai drawing level.
Guangzhou's lead at the top is down to 2 points after Jiangsu Sainty's 3-1 win at Dalian Shid on Sunday. With 11 games left, it looks like the top two will battle it out for the title. Despite their big names, Shanghai Shenhua are way back in 12th, having won just 4 of their 19 league matches.
Over in Japan, one of the country's most popular teams, the Urawa Reds, are enjoying a resurgence this season. Their home game against Jupiler League on Saturday gave them a chance to close in on top spot in the JLeague. After a frustrating first half an hour at the Saitama Stadium, Urawa finally broke Jubilee's resistance when Yoshike Kashiwagi found the net.
And we were talking earlier about how he needed to get more involved.
With just one defeat in 12 prior to this, Urawa plugged away for a second after half-time. It came courtesy of midfielder Yuki Abe, sending the majority of the crowd of nearly 30,000 home happy. The win moves Urawa within 4 points of the summit in the J-League as they chase their first title since 2006. The top two teams both drew their games at the weekend. Defending champions Kashiwa Reysol are up to 4th.
Fans in South Korea are getting used to a new format for the KLeague, with each club facing at least 44 games this season. On Saturday, 4 times champions Suwon Blue Wings faced Incheon United. Heju Kwak's early goal put the home side ahead, with Suwon hoping to finish as high as they can ahead of the K-League's championship playoffs. Macedonian frontman Stavica Ristic made it 2-0 before half-time. In just his 4th appearance of the campaign, Suwon's goalkeeper Dongwon Yang made an excellent impression. After saving a penalty, he produced a string of fine saves to help his side preserve their lead, following the dismissal of Australian defender Eddie Bosnar early in the second half. Incheon's pressure finally bore fruit, though, when Junjae Nam put them back in contention. But the 10 men stood firm after that, and in stoppage time, Suwon substitute Taegun Ha rounded off a 3-1 win. At the end of the regular season, the K-League will split in 2, with the top half contesting the title. Suwon are 3rd, seeking their first championship success since 2008. The current title holders and 2012 AFC Champions League finalists Jeonbuk Motors lead the way, a late winner clinching their 3-2 success at Cheonan Dragons. Coming up in part 2 of this week's goal show, Gus Hiddink's Anzhi Makhachkala aim for UEFA Europa League qualification. And Anderlecht begin their title defence in Belgium. Welcome back to this week's goal show. Still to come, the best of the action as the new season gets underway in Belgium. And Vincent Kompany on his new contract with Manchester City.
To Europe now, where Anzhi Makhachkala are attempting to reach the group stages of the UEFA Europa League under Gus Hiddink. On Thursday night, they were in Budapest for the second leg of their second round qualifier with Hungarian team Honvéd. Anzhi had won the first leg 1-0, a game played in Moscow because of a UEFA decision not to allow continental games to be played in Anzhi's region, the volatile Dagestan. The Russians began well at the Bozic Stadium, taking the lead when Samuel Eto'o nudged in a 7th-minute corner. The Cameroon striker's first goal in European competition since scoring for Inter against Bayern Munich in the last 16 of the Champions League in March 2011. A 2-1 win at home to Kuban Krasnodar had given Anzhi victory on the opening weekend of the new Russian Premier League season days beforehand. And with a 2-goal aggregate cushion and the benefits of an away goal, Hiddink's team were to stroll into the third qualifying round. Ivorian striker Lassina Traoré added a second after half-time. Honvéd's task was made even harder moments later when this tackle on Jupiler resulted in a straight red card for Richard Verns. Hiddink and Anzhi's first-team director, Roberto Carlos, could afford a smile by then, and Anzhi went 4 ahead on aggregate when Russian under-21 midfielder Oleg Shatov latched on to Eto'o's through ball. Eto'o was a constant torment to Honved's fragile defence, and the 31-year-old saved the best until last, adding to his team's tally with a fine individual effort. Anzhi comfortably into the next qualifying round as they target a place in Europe's second competition for the first time in a decade. Hiddink will take his team to his home country next. Vitesse Arnhem of the Netherlands are Anzhi's third-round opponents.
The new Pro League season in Belgium got underway at the weekend. On Saturday, champions Anderlecht were tipped to get the defence of their title off to a successful start away at Kortrijk. It was John van den Brom's first game in charge of the Brussels club, taking over from Ariel Jacobs, who's moved on to FC Copenhagen after 5 seasons in charge. Kortrijk finished 6th last season, but proved themselves to be no pushovers, ending as Belgian Cup runners-up. And they showed some of that form early on, taking the lead with 19 minutes gone. Ervin Zukanovic sharpest when the ball ran loose in the Anderlecht box. The champions were out of sorts, unable to conjure a meaningful chance until the second half. It fell to Jumersi and Bakani, but after doing the hard work, the Congolese striker's shot lacked power. On the hour mark, he went some way to making amends by forcing a challenge from Christophe van Hout that saw the home keeper sent off. Mbakani netted 14 times for Anderlecht last season and should have been confident from the spot. But substitute keeper Darren Keats made himself an immediate hero. Anderlecht continued to press and they were eventually rewarded for their efforts. 9 minutes from time, defender Olivier de Schacht volleyed home. Just his 4th goal in nearly 300 Anderlecht appearances. It finished 1-1, an unconvincing start for the new coach Van den Brom as his side bid for their 32nd league title. He'll hope for much better this week as Anderlecht face Lithuanian side FK Akranes in UEFA Champions League qualifying.
Later on Saturday, last season's runners-up Club Brugge were looking to capitalise on Anderlecht's early slip-up. They hosted newly promoted Voorsland Beveren. 3 minutes in and they were handed an opportunity to take the lead when Thomas Meunier was brought down in the area. Noah Rafailov steps up. The Israeli making no mistake from the spot. Rafailov grabbed his and Club Brugge's second shortly before the half-hour mark. His efforts slightly further out this time, but the same outcome nevertheless. With 7 minutes of the first half remaining, the home side all but sealed victory. Meunier's shot looked tame enough, not for Michael Klepkens though. The Voorsland Beveren keeper allowing the shot to creep in. The visitors did pull a goal back just before the break. Augusto da Silva capitalising on Dugari Ndabashinji's miss-hit shot to make head coach Dirk Gered's half-time team talk a little easier. Whatever was said, it almost worked, as Baz Sibam came close to pulling another goal back. But it stayed 3-1 as Club Brugge's season got off to the perfect start. They now turn their attentions to a UEFA Champions League qualifier against defending Danish champions FC Copenhagen, the club now coached by former Anderlecht boss Ariel Jacobs.
On Sunday, 2011 champions Genk welcomed Cercle Bruges to the Cristal Arena. Last season, Genk could only manage 6th place, and here the signs weren't good for Mario Bain's side early on. They fell behind with 14 minutes gone in the most fortuitous manner possible. Cercle striker Luca Vaneno delighted to claim a goal from an incredibly lucky ricochet. 5 minutes later, the home side were back on terms. Christian Benteke allowed too much room and opening his account for the season. Genk soon completed the turnaround. Derek Shamanga's long ball forward looked innocuous, but Benteke pounced for his second of the match. The lively first half continued as Cercle mustered up an equaliser themselves on the half-hour mark. Igor Vetakele breaking away to make it 2-2, though replays suggested Genk goalkeeper Laszlo Koteles should have done better. Perhaps that was playing on the keeper's mind, as Cercle took the lead for the second time in the match soon after the break. The Hungarian beaten again by Van Eno. The Belgium under-21 star will rarely score an easier goal. But the unpredictable nature of the game was maintained by Jelle Vossen, adding his name to the score sheet just 3 minutes later. Enough to earn Genk a point. 3-3 the final score. Next up for Genk is a third-round Europa League qualifier with Kazakhstan team Aktobi on Thursday.
Everton announced on Monday that long-serving midfielder Tim Cahill was discussing a move to Major League Soccer. The Premier League club later confirming the 32-year-old Australian international had agreed to join the New York Red Bulls. Cahill spent 8 years with Everton, making more than 200 appearances, but has said the ambition of the Red Bulls tempted him across the Atlantic. On Tuesday, speculation regarding the future of Kaká at Real Madrid intensified after he was left out of Jose Mourinho's squad for a pre-season friendly against Real Oviedo. Kaká has struggled for consistency since moving to Spain in 2009, and he's been linked with a return to Milan. Wednesday saw Chelsea announce the signing of Brazil international Oscar. The European champions have paid Internacional a fee in the region of £25 million for the 20-year-old midfielder. He's currently with Brazil's Olympic squad. Manchester City captain Vincent Kompany spoke of his delight on Thursday after signing a 6-year contract with the Premier League champions. The 26-year-old Belgian international was named Player of the Year by the league after playing a key part in City's success. The defenders excelled since joining from Hamburg in 2008.
To know that I can be at the club for another 6 years and hopefully have an even bigger impact than I've already had, it's for me a great perspective. I'm good here. The fans have given me an incredible reception, which is also one of the main reasons why I signed this new deal. My family is happy, and I think that there's so many more trophies to win here at this club.
On Friday, Sami Nasri was suspended for 3 international matches by the French Football Federation. The sanction for the Manchester City midfielder follows a full investigation into his behaviour at Euro 2012. He'll miss the start of France's quest to qualify for the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. And on Saturday, Andrei Shevchenko stunned Ukraine by announcing his immediate retirement from football. The 35-year-old former Chelsea and Milan striker is to pursue a career in politics.
Thierry Henry is the latest winner of our Goal of the Week contest. His super strike for the New York Red Bulls against Chicago earned 80% of the votes in our global poll on goal.com. Each week we ask you to select your favourite from a choice of 5. First up this time, Danilinho's wonderfully executed volley for Brazilian league leaders Atletico Mineiro at home to Santos. Lucina Traore's fine individual goal for Anzhi Makhachkala against Honved in Champions League qualifying is goal number 2. Goal 3 showcases the ingenuity of Samuel Eto'o, his mazy run and shot completing Anzhi's thumping 4-0 win in Hungary. Olivier Deschamps' strike for Anderlecht away at Kortrijk is goal 4, a rarity for the Belgian international defender. And finally, goal 5, also from the opening weekend of the new Belgian season. Israeli Lior Rafaelov scoring for Club Brugge against Forsland Beveren. To vote for your favourite, simply go to the video section on goal.com. On next week's Goal Show, the CONCACAF Champions League group stages get underway across the Atlantic. And Juventus step up their pre-season preparations, getting set to defend the Italian title.